you have no visual cues. You're on a phone. So what engenders images? Your voice.
Welcome back, all those sales leaders and salespeople that follow me, and I really appreciate you giving us the time, and hopefully we bring some value to you. And hey, I really appreciate having Denis Champagne with me again. Great to see you.
Same here. So great to see you, John.
Last time we talked about the importance of opening, particularly with the application of your voice or your voices, and you're the expert in the power of the voices. Let's talk specifically about how you apply the principles of the voice in opening, how to open with the voice. So let's give us a bit of a lesson on this, please, Denis.
Sure. It's actually in three small parts. The first part is the first 10 seconds are crucial. When a prospect answers the line, you have a very short period to engage the quality of your voice by saying, instead of saying, hello, may I speak with, and you add all of that to particular jargon, you just say, Mr. Smybert, very calmly like that. And they go, yeah. And then you're not sure if they're going to answer again. So you go, Mr. Smybert? They go, yes. Oh, hi, Mr. Smybert. Denis on behalf of Lotus. How have you been, sir? Very calmly. Mm-hmm. And why do I say, how have you been? Because I want to psychologically infer that maybe I'm concerned about not only how he is today, but how he has been in the past, which will probably kind of show care for a process of time in the past, almost like as though you're concerned about the person, not just in that moment, but you care about what has happened to him or her. So those phrases have elicited a positive response by saying the person's name 3 times and ask them how have they been. So it shows that you care about them from the past. 9 times out of 10, people will say, I'm doing fine. And what you're looking to get from them is, and how about you? And if they return by asking, how are you as a salesperson, you now have the psychological room to engage. They have given you the permission to continue. The second, so that's the first part.
And that's very powerful, the way you've expressed that. And I like the example you gave and how you make that call. So I think we can all learn a lot from that. But we're talking about voice here. I mean, that's the approach, whatever the voice is, right? Or are you saying the voice actually projects it in a certain way?
Well, a lot of experts, including your own colleague and friend, Tony Hughes, mentions it in his book. And I'll give a shout out to that particular component because he talks about very few can handle themselves in a calm and collected way. And usually when we want to engage someone, the calmer, the better, than the more excited, especially with C-suite.
So to get calm, is that something you actually do to your voice, or is it more something you do to your head and relax and all that sort of stuff?
Well, when I talked about the power of voices, I speak about the inner voice. That's the first threshold.
Okay, that makes sense.
Your own confidence, your own composure, your own sense of self, your own commitment to sales. If you're, some people are into a sale, some others are into a career. So it does have an impact. All of those particular components fit in and actually come out in your voice. It's deeper than just reading some lines. So it takes a transformational approach and a responsible approach as a professional to really connect correctly with people.
Now, I'm with you now. As soon as you mentioned inner voice, yes, it's really your whole being that will help you project the right voice, and to some extent the right words as well. If we have the right intent in our conversation. I've spoken to a number of people. I just love their content. Ian Lowe, for example, if you've ever spoken to him, he talks about purpose and intent. And if we can have the right purpose and intent and have clarity around that before we speak with somebody, and the intent's obviously all about the other person, not about us. If you get all that very clear, then that's part of your inner voice, right? It's part of what will help you project.
Absolutely. It's spot on. That's the core. And beyond which everything else kind of flows from that. So it's really a confidence, an assuredness, a seriousness about your job. You're caring, what I call caringly curious about your prospect, to reach out and start figuring out what is it that I can do to help, investigate, inquire, explore with them, try to see where it's like a diagnosis of a caring doctor.
Exactly. And what does a caring doctor do? Sits back, is a professional, and asks questions that are really powerful questions that help them understand you, right? That's
Right.
really what sales is all about.
Absolutely.
And you're right. The more I think about it, it's that inner voice and how you use your voice in a very relaxed, authoritative way. I don't mean authoritative way and being dominant, but being coming across as a peer level person to the executive you're talking to.
Yeah, I read in a book, it says you have to sound competent.
But you can't put that on though, can you?
No, you can't. It has to come from a place of respect and caring and professionalism, like real servant leadership, where you're there to help, and the outcomes and the results are for the benefit. And as Zig Ziglar says, if you do that, you'll get all what you want.
Exactly. Okay, so we're talking about how to open, and I jumped in a couple of times. You said there were 3 things. Have you covered?
So once they say, he or she says, I'm fine, and how about you? Then you have the permission psychologically to be able to open up and not really go right away into the subject matter of your approach. You may, from time to time and at will, speak about 2 people, just 2 human beings. They will sense that then you're not just about the ultimate goal is to get them to go to the next step, but you'll talk about your life. You say, to this week I had, like in my case in Canada, I had the nice snowfall. I look forward to skiing tomorrow, and I'll do it very naturally without any ulterior motives other than just connect with that person sincerely. And that you can't fake that. You just cannot fake it.
Okay, the danger there I see is starting to make the conversation about you and not the customer, though, is that you're talking about something very brief.
Very, very brief. And if they asked, they probably more than likely want to know an answer. So if you don't answer, you're cutting off and you're being stifled or you're being stoic. So actually, if they ask you how about, you respect the question and you answer that question, but ever so briefly. And it takes some wisdom over time to sense where is the line. At that point, when you sense that you said something enough that philosophically or otherwise, whatever is, you're both in Australian rules football or whatever, and then now you say, sir, I know you're busy. I know you're busy. I'll be brief. And then you get to the third part, which is now you talk about the pervasive issues that you have seen in that vertical in which you're talking about with the client. You bring up various issues that has happened. Some of them have benefited from that particular component, outcome, insight, whatever. And you wanted to find out if these are things that resonate with him or her. These things been discussed amongst yourselves? And would you be open to finding a 15-minute or 20-minute conversation to discuss some of the ideas that we've been able to successfully implement with some of our prospect clients?
You're labeling all of that the voice. 1, 2, 3, you have just gone through. That's a whole conversation you've just gone through.
Right, but it's the resonance, the backdrop. Okay. It's like taking a photo. You may take a photo behind what I have here, or you can go in a white backdrop in a studio, and it'll change the whole allure of your picture. So the backdrop is the quality of your vocal resonance, which creates an environment. Because you have no visual cues, you're on a phone. So what engenders images? Your voice.
I mean, this applies whether you're on the phone or face-to-face, doesn't it? It's the same, exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Except when you're face-to-face, you have other activities to communicate. You've got gestures, you've got the smile and the face and so on and so forth. So you need all of that.
Correct.
One of the things I teach a lot and get people to practice a lot is to actually have the right face and have the right gestures, etc., when they're talking to somebody on the phone, because that helps the voice too.
Absolutely. The physiology helps the resonance. So yeah, like
I guess that's part of the inner voice that you talked about.
Sure, confidence and the physiology of voice.
Okay, I think that was a great discussion, and hopefully for all my followers out there, Denise brought some really good thoughts to you. I know all of you practice, first impressions and using voice, but here's some real interesting thoughts that Denise brought to the table. He talks about the inner voice, and I think that, Denise, that was really strong, helped me understand, and really it's about getting the right resonance in your voice and then going through the right process in the conversation with that resonance, with that confidence, with that peer-to-peer engagement, using the voice effectively, driven by the inner voice. Does that summarize it?
Yeah, very well summarized, John.
Hey, Denis, I'm looking forward to the next time we talk.
Yeah, likewise. All the best. Thank you.